All right. So I'm waking up and I'm thinking about how some of my burgeoning friendships sort of died on the vine, didn't really endure, and we kind of drifted. And I'm thinking about how we all have a subtle fear of abandonment, some of us not so subtle. And I would think that mine would be pretty pronounced because at times losing people has been very costly to me. Almost every time it's costly. But the interesting thing is, I've had the experience of it opening doors to new possibility and being able to see that. Let me hold this a little different. There we go. Um, and being able to see that pattern, I've come to accept that loss, that cost, as a payment towards what's next. And I think it's really critical that we remember that you can build and put everything in order and have things right, and they can still come apart. Entropy never rests, and in so many ways, certain things we build aren't meant to stand. And if we get attached to this idea that we're going to get to a point where we have everything set and we can put it on cruise control and just relax for the rest of our days, that's very alluring. I understand the appeal of that way of thinking. But I also know there's a stagnation, there's a death there, that life is ongoing, it's dynamic, it's fluid, it's a little bit chaotic, it's creative, it's destructive, it's so many things that to be in life, you can't just do a set and forget and have the full lived experience, right? And so, as much as it's sad and it hurts and it costs, um, I've now realized that I don't really fear abandonment in the same way, and I don't resent the loss because I see it as a payment toward whatever I'm going to receive next. And knowing that moving toward what's next means I'm alive and I'm growing and I'm learning and I'm experiencing and I'm in the flow with everything, it's not so bad. It's really a very useful reframe to realize we can never really get it just so. I think we were sold on an idea of happily ever after, which just doesn't exist. There's no happily ever after, but there are tremendous right now moments that we can create and experience and share and learn from and grow from, and we can we can carry forward so many of those things if we see it in its own place, in its own context, and don't get caught on the barbs and the snags of, oh, I built this, I've lost it, I've lost these people have left me, I'm unlovable, I'm alone in the world. We kind of are alone in the world. There's certain things no one can do with us or for us, and embracing that and considering it the work of the relationship we have with ourselves to provide for those things and to be able to build bridges across the gaps where people and other supports fall out. It's the reason for developing our character, it's the reason for developing our strengths, it's the reason for developing these skills. And when we bring that to that, the loss isn't the same thing anymore. It's an opportunity, and I know I go on about this to turn every disappointment into an opportunity. And at the same time, when I have these moments and I think back and I'm a little saddened because yeah, there's sadness, I feel that, but that isn't I am not sadness. I am not sad. I am a person experiencing some sadness, and I know that sounds like slippery semantics, and I guess in a way you could make a case that it is, but it's legit in terms of mindset, in terms of saying like, yeah, this is not all I am, this is not all it is, and what I want isn't necessarily what's best in this context, in this particular paradigm, and being able to ultimately reconcile that and work with it instead of against it, to see it as a guide rather than a punisher, right? Like, it makes such a huge difference for me in being able to navigate through life's endless vicissitudes. It's always going to be this, that, or the other thing. And being adaptable and fluid and ready for action is a big part of what makes it okay that things happen. You know, we say, "Oh, shit happens." Like, okay, but then what do we do? That's that's where we can best draw strength and clarity. Is an understanding that it's still within us to write the story that allows us to step up and apply some level of skill and develop some mastery and make progress and get out to where the new opportunities, the new connections are, knowing they may wash away too. It's there are things we have to do every day. Every day we have to brush our teeth. Every day we have to eat food. Every day, right? And so every so many cycles of life, we need to reset these things and dispense with the notion that we can just get it right and have our happily ever after. Understand that we are where we are in a moment, and what we bring to that will bring us to where we can acquire and develop more, and to treat it as an opportunity, because when we do, our whole being follows that drive rather than falling into some sort of freeze response like a prey animal. And it's so much better to be the one out there chasing it than getting chased in that context. So, yeah, it's another thought I've had about how I've managed to ride some of these waves, and a lot of it just has to do with saying it's not that I'm being abandoned, it's that I'm outgrowing a chapter of life, and these things fall to the wayside as I go forward. It's like when you're on the water and you're cutting a wake, it's like splitting and churning the water behind you, and it's like rolling away. That's what experience is. It's just the wake we leave, and if you want the boat to keep going forward, you got to keep cutting a wake through life. And so, yeah, it's important to be able to acknowledge that it's sad and there's some pain, and to process the emotion and recognize what it's about and learn from that, but also to not see it as a defeat or some sort of cosmic assault on our sense of what we want, and to remember that what we want isn't always what's best for us, and to just continue to move with it rather than against it. And that's me with the Wu Wei, because I really believe that in being able to go with the way of no way, the way itself will present itself. It strips reality down to its most essential truths, and in that we can have great clarity and know what to do next, and put our energy toward moving forward, and not get stuck in the past, and not get stuck in our sense of loss and sorrow, and have the feelings, process them, grieve, but then move on, and know that it's a gift, it's an opportunity, and it's not a verdict that you're unlovable and no one can be trusted or life's unfair. It's just how it works, and working with the works makes it churn out the good product. So here's to better products. All right, that's it. Bye bye.